Welcome back, GrimFace family. Today we're excited to announce something that marks the next evolution of our mission. A bold step forward in our quest to not just motivate, but to educate and empower. GrimFace Motivation is officially launching a new partner channel called GrimFace Financial. At GrimFace, our mission has always been clear: to better the world through motivational content and education on personal development. We dive deep into the core pillars of the human condition: mindset, finances, and health, because we know these are the areas that shape not just individuals, but entire generations. As we've grown, it's become clear that to truly serve our community, we need to separate and focus. That's why we've created GrimFace Financial, a partnering channel that will have a heavier focus on money and breaking free from the system by mastering financial discipline and literacy. This new channel will carry the same unapologetic, dark motivational tone as GrimFace Motivation, but will serve the portion of our audience that would like to have a laser focus on building financial power. Our primary channel, GrimFace Motivation, is about mastering the self, discipline, accountability, and mindfulness we need as a foundation. And the new GrimFace Financial will be about applying those principles to money. It's about learning how to earn, save, invest, and grow wealth while staying grounded in the values that define us: honor, resilience, and control. We know that financial freedom isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. It's the key to living life on your terms, to breaking free from a system designed to keep you struggling. At GrimFace Financial, we'll cover everything from the emotional side of money to the art of patience and long-term thinking. From mastering risk and building flexibility to understanding the stories we tell ourselves about wealth, this channel will be your guide to transferring the mindset you've built into the financial arena. The link to the new channel is in the description of this video. But let's be clear, GrimFace Motivation isn't going anywhere. It will remain your source of strength and guidance for mastering discipline, mindfulness, and accountability. It will continue to push you to strive for greatness, to honor yourself and your path, and to live with a warrior's mindset. We're asking all of you, our loyal GrimFace family, to join us on this new journey. If you've found value in GrimFace Motivation, if you've resonated with our call to stand strong against mediocrity and rise above the noise, then GrimFace Financial may be a great addition to your arsenal and daily routine. The GrimFace movement is more than just a series of channels. It's a revolution, a rebellion, a call to action for those who dare to take control of their lives. The stakes have never been higher, and the world has never needed us more. We will now continue with an example of the content that will be on the GrimFace Financial channel. However, from here on out, all content pertaining to finances and wealth will be hosted and showcased on the new GrimFace Financial channel. This channel, GrimFace Motivation, will continue its mission in drilling down concepts of motivation, discipline, accountability, and all concepts revolving around the mind and spirit. We hope you enjoy. Lesson 1: the importance of behavior in money management. Money. It's not just numbers on a screen or paper in your wallet. It's power. It's potential. It's the cold, hard reflection of your decisions, your habits, and most importantly, your behavior. You see, financial success isn't reserved for the smartest, the most educated, or those born into wealth. No, it belongs to those who can master themselves. Let me tell you a brutal truth. It doesn't matter how much you know about stocks, real estate, or crypto. It doesn't matter how many books you've read, podcasts you've listened to, or gurus you've followed. None of that matters if your behavior around money is reckless, impulsive, or driven by fear. Knowledge without discipline is useless. Intelligence without emotional control is dangerous. Look around you. How many people earn 6, even 7 figures, only to end up broke, desperate, and defeated? They had the resources, they had the knowledge, but they didn't have the discipline. They couldn't control their spending, resist temptation, or think long-term. They let their emotions, fear, greed, pride, dictate their decisions. And those emotions, they're ruthless. They will sabotage you, drain you, and leave you in ruins if you let them. The real battle isn't with the markets or the economy. It's with yourself. Can you resist the urge to splurge on something you don't need? Can you stay calm when the markets crash? Or will you panic and sell at the worst possible moment? Can you delay gratification, save consistently, and invest patiently, even when it feels like everyone else is living their best life? This isn't just about behavior, it's about survival. Because in the world of money, there are two types of people: those who control their money, and those who are controlled by it. And let me tell you, if you let your emotions control your money, you're already lost. You're a slave to the system, trapped in an endless cycle of paycheck to paycheck, debt to debt, regret to regret. But it doesn't have to be this way. You can break free. You can win. Not by being the smartest or the fastest, but by being the most disciplined, by mastering your emotions, by behaving in a way that aligns with your goals, not your impulses. Start small. Start now. Build the habits that will lead to freedom. Save before you spend. Invest before you indulge. And plan before you act. And when the storms come, and they will come, stand firm. Don't let fear make your decisions. Don't let greed blind you. Don't let pride destroy you. Because at the end of the day, money isn't just about numbers. It's about control. It's about power. And the question you need to ask yourself is this: will you control your money, or will it control you? The choice is yours. But make no mistake, it's a choice that will define your future. So, choose discipline. Choose patience. Choose mastery. Because in the end, financial success is not about how much you know. It's about how well you behave. Lesson 2. The power of compounding. The silent force that shapes wealth. There is a force in this world, one so powerful and relentless that it can transform mere scraps of wealth into mountains of riches. It's not loud. It's not flashy. It doesn't need your attention or approval. It simply grows, quietly and steadily, indifferent to your impatience or distractions. This force is compounding, the silent engine behind every empire of wealth. But let me warn you, compounding is not for the weak. It demands more than understanding. It requires obedience. It demands that you bow to its rules, patience, discipline, and the willingness to endure the excruciating slowness of the early days. Here's the brutal truth. Compounding doesn't care about your shortcuts, your schemes, or your cravings for instant gratification. It rewards the few who can think long-term and punishes the many who cannot. Most people never harness its power because they lack the vision, the patience, and the grit to endure its process. They want results now. They want wealth without sacrifice. And so, they waste their time chasing quick wins, never realizing they're squandering the greatest ally they'll ever have: time. Time is the fuel of compounding. Every day you waste is a day you rob from your future self. Every dollar you squander is a dollar that could have multiplied 100-fold if only you had the discipline to let it work for you. But most people, they can't resist. They chase fleeting pleasures, shiny objects, and fleeting opportunities, blind to the slow-burning fire of compounding that could have turned their modest beginnings into a legacy. You see, compounding isn't just about money. It's about mindset. It's about understanding that greatness is not built in days, months, or even years. It's built in decades. The greatest financial achievements are not the result of extraordinary intelligence or luck, but of consistent action over time. The small, disciplined choices you make today are the seeds of the towering tree that will shelter you tomorrow. But here's the dark reality. Most of you will quit before you even see the first sprout. Compounding works slowly at first, almost painfully so. The returns seem insignificant, almost laughable. But that's the trap. That's where the weak give up, calling it a waste of time. They abandon the process just before the exponential growth begins. And those who stick with it? They watch as the world catches fire. They witness their efforts snowball into unstoppable momentum. Compounding rewards those who endure, who sacrifice, who think in decades rather than days. So I ask you, can you endure the wait? Can you delay gratification while the seeds of wealth are buried deep, invisible to the impatient eye? Can you keep investing, keep planting, and keep believing, even when there's no visible sign of progress? The power of compounding is merciless. It will test your patience, challenge your discipline, and expose your weaknesses. But if you respect it, if you commit to it, it will transform your life. It will take your small, consistent efforts and magnify them into something so extraordinary that even you won't believe it. Time is the ally of the disciplined and the executioner of the lazy. Right now, this very moment, you're either harnessing the power of compounding or letting it slip away. The choice is yours. But remember this: the price of impatience is regret, and regret is a debt no amount of money can repay. Commit to the process. Trust the power of compounding. Play the long game. Because while the weak fall for illusions of quick success, the strong build legacies that last lifetimes. Which will you choose? Lesson 3. The role of luck and risk. Mastering the shadows of uncertainty. In the cold, merciless game of money, there exists an uncomfortable truth few dare to acknowledge. Your success is not always your own doing, and your failures may not always be your fault. Luck and risk, two invisible forces, control far more of your financial destiny than you'd like to admit. Think about it. You can do everything right. Research, strategize, execute with precision, and still fail. Why? Because risk doesn't care about your effort. It doesn't care about your plans or your dreams. It exists to remind you that life is chaotic, unpredictable, and beyond your control. Risk is the shadow lurking behind every decision, every trade, every investment, and no one escapes its reach. But then, there's luck, the silent benefactor that rewards some and ignores others. Luck doesn't play fair. It doesn't reward the hardest worker, the smartest thinker, or the most disciplined investor. It's random, indifferent, and utterly ruthless. Some people stumble into wealth without lifting a finger, while others grind endlessly and achieve nothing. That's the reality of this world. Luck is not earned. It's given, or withheld. But here's the question. What will you do with this knowledge? Will you surrender to the chaos, blaming risk for your failures and envying those touched by luck? Or will you rise above it, understanding that while you cannot control these forces, you can still shape how you respond to them? Because here's the dark, empowering truth. Luck and risk may influence the outcome, but they don't define who you are. They're players in the game, not the game itself. The weak curse their misfortune and glorify the lucky, but the strong accept these forces as part of the battlefield. They don't waste time whining about fairness or waiting for fortune to smile upon them. They prepare. They adapt. They persist. Understand this. Luck favors the prepared mind, and risk punishes the reckless. While you can't eliminate risk, you can mitigate it. You can make decisions not just for the best-case scenario, but for the worst. You can position yourself to endure the storms that risk will inevitably bring. And when luck comes knocking, and it will eventually, you can be ready to seize it with both hands. But never let luck fool you into arrogance or risk lure you into despair. Success is often a messy combination of skill, discipline, and chance. Bad outcomes don't always mean you failed. They're simply the cost of playing the game. Similarly, good outcomes don't always mean you succeeded. They might just be the fleeting gift of fortune. Learn to separate the process from the result. Focus on what you can control: your effort, your decisions, your discipline. And when risk strikes, as it inevitably will, don't let it break you. Let it sharpen you. Let it teach you. Because every setback, every loss, every painful lesson is fuel for your growth, if you let it be. So, accept the role of luck and risk in this game of wealth, but never let them rule you. Build your skills, make disciplined decisions, and prepare for the unexpected. When luck blesses you, don't waste it. When risk challenges you, don't fear it. Play the game with your eyes wide open, knowing the odds are never fully in your favor, but you can still win. Because in the end, it's not about guaranteeing success or avoiding failure. It's about enduring, adapting, and thriving in the face of uncertainty. It's about mastering the chaos, not with blind hope, but with ruthless preparation and unwavering persistence. That's how you rise above luck and risk. That's how you win. Lesson 4. Wealth versus rich. The difference between money and freedom. There's a lie you've been sold. A lie whispered by society, shouted by media, and burned into your brain from the moment you started chasing success. That lie is this: money equals freedom. They told you that being rich is the ultimate goal, that the pursuit of a fat bank account and a flashy lifestyle will give you everything you ever wanted. But let me tear that illusion apart. Being rich is not the same as being wealthy. Rich is loud. Rich is flashy. Rich is temporary. You can be rich today and broke tomorrow. Rich is spending everything you make to impress people who don't care. Rich is a house of cards. Fragile, fleeting, fake. But wealth? Wealth is power. Wealth is freedom. Wealth is control over your most precious resource: time. To be wealthy is to wake up each day and own it, to decide how you will spend it, and to do so on your terms, not someone else's. Wealth is silent, steady, and sustainable. It is not about what you have. It's about what you can keep, what you can grow, and what you can use to buy back your life. Most people spend their lives chasing rich. They want the cars, the designer clothes, the massive house. They want to post their success for the world to see. But do you know what they don't realize? They're slaves. Slaves to debt. Slaves to their job. Slaves to the never-ending race to keep up appearances. They are rich in possessions, but bankrupt in freedom. Their time, the one thing they can never get back, is not their own. Let me ask you this. What's the point of having money if you don't have time to enjoy it? What's the point of earning 6 or 7 figures if every waking moment is spent grinding, stressing, and sacrificing your health, your relationships, and your soul? Is that freedom? Or is that a cage made of gold? Wealth isn't about how much you make. It's about how much you keep. It's about how you invest, how you grow, and how you protect your future. It's about building a fortress that no market crash, no job loss, and no setback can destroy. Wealth is quiet. Wealth is patient. And wealth demands that you think beyond today. To become wealthy, you must shift your mindset. Stop chasing the illusion of riches and start building the foundation of freedom. Save more than you spend. Invest in assets, not liabilities. Plan for decades, not days. And most importantly, value your time above all else. Because while money can be made, lost, and made again, time is the one currency you can never replenish. Here's the truth that no one wants to admit. Most people don't want wealth because it requires sacrifice. It requires saying no to instant gratification and yes to the long game. It requires discipline, strategy, and self-control. But those who master it, those who reject the lies of rich and embrace the power of wealth, they are the ones who win. They are the ones who live life on their terms, who control their destiny, who own their freedom. So, the question is simple. Do you want to look rich, or do you want to be wealthy? Do you want to impress strangers today, or do you want to own your time tomorrow? Do you want a life of shallow possessions, or a legacy of true power and freedom? The choice is yours. But remember this: rich is fleeting. Wealth is eternal, and only those who choose wisely will ever know what it truly means to be free. Lesson 5. Spending on what matters. Escaping the trap of false wealth. In a world obsessed with appearances, the greatest lie we've been sold is this: the more you have, the happier you'll be. They want you to believe that fulfillment lies in the size of your house, the brand of your clothes, or the car you drive. They've built an entire system designed to keep you chasing the next shiny thing, the next fleeting thrill, the next illusion of success. But let me tell you something most people never understand. True wealth isn't about how much you spend. It's about spending on what actually matters. Look around. How many people are trapped in the endless cycle of lifestyle inflation? They make more, so they spend more. They upgrade their house, their car, their wardrobe. They chase the image of success, yet deep down, they feel empty, burdened by stress, and chained to their income. Because no matter how much they have, it's never enough. They've lost sight of the one thing money should give them: freedom. True wealth isn't found in showing off. It's found in aligning your money with your values. It's about spending on things that make you happy, not things that make you look happy. Most people don't even know the difference. They buy to impress others, to mask their insecurities, to keep up with a society that rewards appearances over substance. But the harsh reality is this: every dollar you spend chasing validation is a dollar stolen from your future self. Every dollar you waste on meaningless possessions is a dollar you could have invested in freedom, growth, and experiences that actually bring you joy. The system wants you to believe that happiness is found in consumption, but real happiness comes from clarity. Clarity about what truly matters to you. So, what matters to you? Is it security, time with loved ones, building a legacy, pursuing your passions? Whatever it is, spend your money there. Invest in what brings you fulfillment, not in what the world tells you to value. Because when you spend on what matters, you break free from the trap of living for others. You stop competing in a game you never wanted to play. Avoid the trap of lifestyle inflation. Resist the urge to constantly upgrade, to chase the illusion of more. Understand this: wealth isn't measured by how much you spend, but by how much you control. The less you need, the freer you become. Ask yourself, how many of the things you buy actually add value to your life? How much of your spending is driven by fear? Fear of judgment, fear of missing out, fear of being left behind. Strip it all away. Focus on what truly makes you happy, and ruthlessly cut out the rest. Because here's the dark truth: if you don't control your spending will control you. You will become a slave to your possessions, working endlessly to sustain a lifestyle that was never meant to fulfill you. But if you can master your desires, if you can align your money with your values, you will achieve something most people will never know: true wealth. True wealth isn't about buying more. It's about needing less. It's about spending with purpose, not impulse. It's about escaping the rat race and building a life that reflects who you are, not what you own. So, stop wasting your money chasing the dreams of others. Start spending on what matters to you. Build a life of intention, not imitation. Because in the end, the only thing that truly matters is this: did you spend your time and your money on a life worth living? Lesson 6. The role of personal experiences. Your path is yours alone. Your financial story is unique. It's shaped by every decision you've made, every lesson you've learned, and every circumstance you've endured. Yet the world wants to fit you into a mold, to sell you a one-size-fits-all formula for success, as if your life is nothing more than a carbon copy of someone else's. But here's the truth no one tells you: what works for them may not work for you, and it doesn't have to. Your upbringing, your experiences, your struggles, they are your raw material. They've shaped how you view money, risk, and opportunity. Some of you grew up with nothing, learning to stretch every dollar, to survive with scraps, to live in fear of financial ruin. Others grew up in comfort, never questioning where the next meal would come from, never knowing the sharp edge of scarcity. And those differences, they matter. They shape how you act, how you plan, how you build. But let me ask you this. Are you letting your past define you, or are you using it to refine you? Because your experiences can be a curse or a weapon. They can chain you to fear, resentment, and scarcity. Or they can fuel your drive, sharpen your focus, and set you apart. The choice is yours. Understand this. No financial guru, no book, no formula can dictate your path. What worked for someone else, their investments, their strategies, their so-called secrets to success, may fail for you. Why? Because their life isn't yours. They didn't walk your path. They didn't face your challenges. They didn't grow up with your fears, your lessons, your scars. And that's the point. Your financial journey is yours to create. Stop chasing someone else's version of success. Stop comparing your timeline to theirs. Stop following advice that doesn't align with your reality. Instead, embrace your experiences, good and bad. Learn from them. Use them. Let them guide you toward decisions that fit your life, not someone else's. But don't let your past be an excuse. Don't say, "I can't succeed because I wasn't taught about money," or "I'll never have what they have because I didn't grow up like them." That's a cop-out. Your past is not your prison. It's your training ground. Every setback, every mistake, every struggle was a lesson designed to prepare you for the battle ahead. The question is, will you learn from it, or will you let it defeat you? Your financial decisions are not just about numbers. They're about psychology. They're about the beliefs and fears you've carried with you since childhood. If you want to succeed, you need to confront those beliefs. You need to ask yourself, why do I spend the way I do? Why do I save or fail to save? Why do I fear risk or crave it? Why do I believe I'm destined to fail or succeed? The answers to those questions lie in your experiences. They hold the key to your freedom. But most people are too afraid to look. They'd rather follow someone else's roadmap, blindly hoping it will lead them to riches. And those people, they fail. Because success doesn't come from imitation. It comes from understanding yourself, your values, your strengths, and your weaknesses. So, stop running from your story. Stop wishing you had someone else's life, someone else's opportunities, someone else's advantages. Start owning your experiences, your lessons, your scars. They are your greatest assets. They are the foundation of your strategy, the blueprint for your success. Remember this. There is no universal path to wealth. There is only your path. It will be harder than you want it to be, and it will take longer than you think it should. But it will also be yours, authentic, unrepeatable, and entirely in your control. So, embrace your experiences, forge your own way, and never forget, your story isn't a disadvantage. It's your edge. Use it. Build with it. Succeed because of it. Because the only person who can write your financial future is you, and no one else. Lesson 7. Living below your means. The ruthless path to true freedom. In a world obsessed with appearances, where status is measured by what you show rather than what you own, let me give you the unvarnished truth. Wealth is not about how much you make. It's about how much you keep. And the simplest, most powerful strategy to achieve it. Live below your means. I know, it doesn't sound glamorous. It doesn't come with the thrill of risk or the allure of instant gratification. It's not the flashy advice that sells books or garners applause. But it is the foundation of freedom. Without it, everything else is meaningless. Here's the reality. It doesn't matter how much you invest if you can't save. It doesn't matter how much you earn if you spend it all. The person making $40,000 a year and saving $10,000 is wealthier than the person making $400,000 and spending every last dime. The difference isn't income, it's discipline. But most people, they're slaves. Slaves to their desires, to their egos, to a system that teaches them to spend everything they have and then borrow more. They buy things they don't need to impress people they don't even like. They trade their freedom for fleeting pleasures, for the illusion of success, for the validation of strangers. And then they wonder why they're trapped, stressed, and broke. Living below your means is not just a financial strategy. It's a rebellion. It's a refusal to play the game society wants you to play. It's a declaration that you won't sacrifice your future for someone else's idea of happiness. It's the discipline to say no when the world is screaming yes. But let me warn you, this path is not easy. It will demand sacrifice. It will force you to confront your impulses, your insecurities, your need for validation. It will make you question why you want the things you want, why you spend the way you do, why you believe more is always better. And most people can't handle that. They would rather drown in debt than face themselves. But those who master this skill, those who live below their means, not only survive, they thrive. They create a gap between what they earn and what they spend. And that gap is where freedom lives. That gap is where opportunities are born. That gap is what gives you control over your life. Understand this. Saving is more powerful than investing. Investing can multiply your money, but saving is what keeps you alive when the storms hit. Savings give you options. They give you flexibility. They give you the ability to say no to toxic jobs, to bad deals, to anything that doesn't align with your values. Savings are freedom, and freedom is the ultimate wealth. So, how do you do it? Start by cutting ruthlessly. Eliminate anything that doesn't serve your goals. Delay gratification. Stop comparing yourself to others. Stop trying to keep up with people who are as lost as you once were. Build a fortress of discipline around your finances and protect it at all costs. And when you start to see the results, when you feel the weight of debt lift, when you watch your savings grow, when you realize you have control over your life, you will understand something most people never will. Living below your means is not a sacrifice. It's a strategy for freedom. Because here's the dark truth. The system doesn't want you to live below your means. It needs you to spend. It needs you to borrow. It needs you to stay trapped in the endless cycle of consumption. But you don't have to play their game. You can rise above it. You can take control. You can win. So choose discipline over desire. Choose freedom over appearances. Choose to live below your means. Because while the world chases illusions, you will be building something real. A life of independence, a future of security, and a legacy of power. And that is worth more than anything money can buy. Lesson 8. The value of time. The ruthless truth about freedom. Time. It is your most precious, most irreplaceable resource. Yet it's the one thing most people squander without a second thought. They waste it chasing money, chasing status, chasing a life that isn't even their own. But let me tell you something. Money isn't the goal. Money is just the tool. The goal is time. Complete and uncompromising control over your time. Look around you. How many people are living as prisoners, trading hours of their life for a paycheck that barely sustains them? They wake up to an alarm they despise, commute to a job they hate, and give their best hours to someone else's dream. They save what little energy they have left for themselves, only to rinse and repeat the cycle. Day after day, year after year, decade after decade. And for what? A gold watch at retirement? A pat on the back and a hollow thank you for wasting your life in service of someone else? Here's the brutal truth. If you don't control your time, you don't control your life. And if you don't control your life, then you're just another pawn in a system that feeds off your labor, your energy, your existence. They don't want you to realize this. They don't want you to wake up. Because the moment you do, you become dangerous. The moment you understand that money is just a means to buy back your time, you become unstoppable. Financial independence isn't about luxury. It's about freedom. It's about having the power to decide how you spend your days, your hours, your moments. It's about breaking free from the chains of obligation and living life on your terms. Because the harsh reality is this: every second you spend working for something you don't love is a second stolen from the life you were meant to live. You need to ask yourself one question. How much is your time worth? Not in dollars, not in cents, but in the moments you'll never get back. Is it worth wasting years climbing a corporate ladder that leads nowhere? Is it worth trading your health, your passions, your relationships, just to keep up with the world's expectations? Or is it worth fighting for, sacrificing for, and building something that gives you control over your destiny? Money itself is meaningless. It's paper. It's numbers on a screen. Its only value lies in what it can give you. Options, flexibility, time. The problem is, most people use money to trap themselves further. They earn more, so they spend more. They buy bigger houses, fancier cars, and pointless possessions that demand more time, more maintenance, more work. They mistake consumption for freedom, and in doing so, they become slaves to their own choices. But you don't have to fall into that trap. You can rise above it. You can use money as it was meant to be used, as a weapon against the system that wants to steal your time. Save ruthlessly. Invest wisely. Build something that generates income without chaining you to a desk. Because every dollar you save, every investment you make, every smart financial move you execute is a step toward reclaiming your time. And when you achieve it, when you wake up one day and realize that your time is your own, you'll understand something most people never will. Freedom isn't about having everything. It's about having control. So stop wasting your life chasing the wrong goals. Stop letting the system dictate how you spend your time. Start thinking long-term. Start building a future where your time belongs to you and no one else. Because in the end, money is replaceable, but time is not. And the greatest tragedy is not running out of money. It's running out of life, without ever truly living it. The clock is ticking. The choice is yours. Will you let time slip through your fingers, or will you take control and make every second count? Lesson 9. Avoiding financial overconfidence. The quiet killer of wealth. Confidence. It's celebrated, admired, even worshipped in the world of success. But let me warn you, in the world of money, confidence can be your greatest enemy. It lures you in, whispers lies of certainty and invincibility, and blinds you to the one truth no one wants to admit. You don't know the future. No one does. The markets don't care about your plans, your predictions, or your ambitions. They don't care how much research you've done, how many books you've read, or how smart you think you are. The markets are chaos, unpredictable, ruthless. And the moment you start believing you've mastered them, that you've outsmarted the game, they will humble you, brutally. Overconfidence is the quiet killer of wealth. It makes you reckless. It blinds you to risk. It whispers, "You've got this," just before it pulls the rug out from under you. And here's the harsh truth. No one is immune. Not the novice, not the seasoned investor, not the so-called financial expert. Overconfidence doesn't discriminate. It preys on anyone who dares to believe they're above the rules. But you don't have to fall into that trap. If you want to survive, no, if you want to thrive, you must learn humility. You must embrace caution. You must admit the one thing most people are too proud to say. I don't know. No one knows if the market will rise or crash tomorrow. No one knows which investments will flourish or fail. And if someone tells you otherwise, they're lying. To you, or to themselves. The only certainty in the world of money is uncertainty. And the only way to win is to respect that uncertainty, to prepare for it, to build your strategy around it. That's where diversification comes in. Diversification isn't flashy. It isn't exciting. It doesn't make headlines or stroke your ego. But it's your armor. It's your shield against the chaos you can't control. By spreading your investments, by balancing your risks, you protect yourself from the inevitable storms. You don't put all your eggs in one basket, because when that basket drops, and it will, you'll have nothing left. And then there's risk management, the discipline to limit your losses, to know when to walk away, to resist the temptation to bet it all on a hunch, a hope, or a dream. Risk management isn't about fear. It's about survival. It's about staying in the game long enough to win. Because in the world of money, endurance beats bravado every single time. So ask yourself, are you prepared for the storms? Or are you living in the illusion of control, thinking that luck won't turn, that the tides won't shift, that the chaos won't find you? Overconfidence is seductive, but it's also a lie. It will lead you to take risks you can't afford, to ignore dangers you can't see, to believe in certainties that don't exist. And when reality hits, it won't just humble you, it will break you. Be smarter. Be humbler. Recognize that the game of money isn't won by those who think they know everything, but by those who know enough to admit they don't. Embrace diversification. Respect risk. Prepare for what you can't predict. Because the world of money isn't a battlefield for the bold, it's a minefield for the arrogant. In the end, survival isn't about confidence. It's about caution. It's about humility. It's about knowing when to step forward and when to step back. So, stay vigilant, stay disciplined, and remember, the greatest threat to your wealth isn't the market. It's your own overconfidence. Master it, or it will master you. The choice is yours. Lesson 10. Tail risk and the power of outliers. The brutal edge of opportunity. In the world of money, most people play it safe. They cling to averages, forecasts, and predictable outcomes. They want the comfort of control, the illusion that they can map out the future and avoid the unknown. But let me tell you the hard truth. The game isn't won in the middle. It's won at the edges. Tail risk. Outliers. These are the rare, unpredictable events that most people fear, ignore, or simply refuse to prepare for. But here's the brutal reality. In finance, as in life, it's not the average that shapes your destiny. It's the extremes. The biggest wins and the most catastrophic losses don't come from what's expected. They come from the unexpected. From the black swans, the rare anomalies, the outliers that defy the rules and rewrite the game. Think about it. The greatest fortunes in history weren't built on safe bets. They were built on rare, once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. Investments that seemed impossible until they weren't. Decisions that looked reckless until they paid off. Events that crushed the unprepared and elevated the bold. The power of outliers is unmatched, but so is their cost, if you're not ready. Here's the thing most people don't understand. You don't need to win all the time. You don't even need to win often. In the world of tail risk, a handful of extraordinary successes can eclipse a lifetime of small, safe wins. But to seize those moments, you have to survive long enough to recognize them. You have to endure the chaos, the uncertainty, the endless grind of preparation for an event that may never come, or may come tomorrow and change everything. Are you prepared? Are you building a strategy that can withstand the storms and capitalize on the breakthroughs? Or are you clinging to the illusion of safety, ignoring the edges where the real action happens? To master the power of outliers, you must embrace two brutal truths. First, rare events will happen. The market will crash. The bubble will burst. The unexpected will strike when you least expect it. And if you're not ready, it will destroy you. Second, Rare opportunities will come. The world will shift. The rules will change. The chance to make your fortune will appear, but only for those who have the vision, the patience, and the courage to take it. This is where diversification meets discipline, where caution meets aggression. You must hedge against the downside, prepare for the worst, and build a foundation that can survive the shocks. But you must also stay sharp, stay alert, and be ready to pounce when the rare opportunity arises. Because here's the paradox. In the world of tail risk, you must fear the edges, but you must also chase them. Most people can't do this. They get consumed by fear, paralyzed by uncertainty, or blinded by overconfidence. They play it safe, staying in the middle where they think it's comfortable. But the middle is a lie. It's a graveyard for those too timid to risk and too reckless to prepare. The edges, where the tail risks and outliers live, are where the real players thrive. So let me ask you, are you ready to play at the edges? Are you prepared for the rare events that could break you or make you? Because in this game, there are no guarantees. There is only risk, chaos, and the chance to seize something extraordinary. Embrace the uncertainty. Respect the power of tail risk. Prepare for the worst and position yourself for the best. Because when the outliers come, and they will, they won't wait for you to be ready. They'll come for the bold, the disciplined, and the ruthless. Be one of them. Remember, it's not the averages that shape your destiny. It's the extremes. And if you can master them, you won't just survive. You'll dominate. Lesson 11. The Seduction of Pessimism. Escaping the chains of fear. Pessimism. It's the voice that whispers in the back of your mind, the shadow that follows every opportunity, the fear that grips you when you're about to take a leap. Pessimism is seductive. It feels intelligent, cautious, even wise. It's easy to listen to because it feeds into your most primal instincts. The instinct to survive, to protect, to avoid pain at all costs. And in the world of money, pessimism thrives. Why? Because fear sells. Warnings of doom, crashes, and collapses grab your attention. They make you pause, hesitate, and second-guess yourself. Pessimism promises safety. It tells you to hold back, to wait, to doubt. And most people, they fall for it. They let fear dictate their decisions. They choose to stay in the dark because the light feels too uncertain. But here's the brutal truth. Pessimism doesn't protect you. It imprisons you. It chains you to inaction. It blinds you to opportunities. It convinces you that the world is too risky, too volatile, too dangerous to step forward. And in doing so, it robs you of the one thing that matters most in the world of money: growth. History has proven this over and over again. Optimism, true, calculated optimism, has always been the better strategy over the long run. The markets rise more than they fall. Innovation outpaces stagnation. Opportunities always outweigh obstacles for those brave enough to seize them. Yet most people remain paralyzed by fear, unable to see beyond the short-term chaos to the long-term potential. Why? Because pessimism feels safe. It gives you an excuse to stay where you are, to avoid risk, to never step outside your comfort zone. But let me tell you something. Safety is an illusion. The world will move forward with or without you. And every moment you spend paralyzed by fear is a moment you lose to those who had the courage to act. Optimism isn't blind hope. It's not about ignoring risks or pretending everything will always go your way. Optimism is about seeing the world as it is, messy, uncertain, unpredictable, and choosing to move forward anyway. It's about betting on progress, on growth, on the relentless march of time. Because while pessimism may win in the short term, optimism always wins in the end. But let me be clear. Optimism requires strength. It requires you to confront your fears, to silence the voices that tell you to give up, and to take calculated risks in the face of uncertainty. It requires you to believe in yourself, in your ability to adapt, to learn, to overcome. And that's something most people aren't willing to do. They'll tell you it's too dangerous, too risky, too uncertain. They'll point to the crashes, the failures, the disasters. They'll cling to pessimism because it's easier than believing in something greater. But you don't have to follow them. You don't have to stay trapped in the darkness. You can choose to rise above it. Recognize pessimism for what it is, a crutch for the weak, a prison for the fearful, and then break free. Choose optimism, not because it's easy, but because it's right. Bet on growth. Bet on progress. Bet on yourself. Because in the end, it's not fear that builds wealth, creates opportunities, or shapes the future. It's courage. It's action. It's the relentless belief that tomorrow can be better than today. So, what will you choose? Will you let the seduction of pessimism hold you back? Or will you rise above it and take control of your future? The world belongs to the optimists, the bold, the disciplined, the ones who refuse to let fear dictate their lives. Be one of them. Because while pessimism may feel safe, only optimism will lead you to greatness. Lesson 12. The influence of stories. Breaking free from the lies we tell ourselves. Money. It's not just numbers on a screen or paper in your hand. It's a story, a narrative, a tale you've been told since the day you were born. But here's the brutal truth. The stories we tell ourselves about money are often more powerful and more dangerous than the facts themselves. Think about it. Every financial decision you make, every risk you take, every dollar you save or spend is driven not by cold, hard logic, but by the stories running on a loop in your mind. Stories of scarcity, of abundance, of fear, of ambition. Stories of what you think money means. Security, power, success, or even shame. These stories aren't just whispers in your head. They are the invisible hands guiding your every choice. And most of the time, these stories are lies. They're born from your past, your upbringing, your experiences, your failures, and they chain you to a version of reality that may no longer exist. Maybe you grew up in scarcity, so you hoard every penny, terrified to spend, even when you should. Or maybe you grew up watching others flaunt wealth, and now you chase it blindly, thinking possessions will fill the void inside you. But here's the thing. Money doesn't care about your stories. The markets don't care about your emotions. Reality doesn't bend to the narrative you've created. And if you let those stories drive your decisions, they will lead you down a path of self-sabotage, of regret, of financial ruin. You need to confront the stories you tell yourself about money. Tear them apart. Question their origins. Are they based on facts? Or are they the ghosts of your past, whispering fears and illusions into your ear? Are they serving you? Or are they holding you hostage? Because until you take control of the narrative, you will never make rational financial choices. You will always be a slave to the stories that bind you. But here's the harsh reality. Breaking free from these stories is not easy. It requires brutal self-awareness. It requires you to admit that you've been lying to yourself, that the stories you've clung to for comfort are the very things keeping you stuck. It requires you to step into the uncomfortable truth that money isn't emotional, but you are. And that's a weakness you must learn to master. Understanding the emotional stories behind your financial decisions doesn't just make you rational. It makes you dangerous. It makes you someone who can separate fact from fiction, logic from emotion, truth from illusion. It gives you clarity in a world full of noise, focus in a world full of distraction. But most people won't do this. They'll keep living the lie, letting their stories control them, justify their bad decisions, and hold them back from the wealth and freedom they could achieve. They'll keep blaming the markets, the economy, the system, anything but themselves. Don't be like them. Confront your narrative. Rewrite the script. Stop telling yourself that money is scarce, that it's evil, that it's only for the lucky or the greedy. Stop letting your past define your future. Start telling yourself the truth. Money is a tool, a weapon, a means to freedom, and you are the one who controls it, not the other way around. But to control it, you must first control yourself. You must strip away the emotions, the fears, the lies, and see money for what it truly is. Neutral, indifferent, and full of potential. And when you do, you will unlock a power most people will never know. The power to make decisions based on reality, not the stories that cloud your mind. So, I ask you, what stories are you telling yourself about money? Are they driving you toward your goals, or are they leading you to ruin? The choice is yours. But remember this: the narrative you choose will define your financial destiny. Choose wisely, rewrite the story, and take control of the pen. Lesson 13. The importance of flexibility. Freedom lies in adaptability. In the world of money, the one who survives, the one who thrives, isn't the strongest or the smartest. It's the one who adapts. Financial success isn't about following rigid plans, clinging to certainties, or committing yourself to a single path. No, it's about flexibility. It's about keeping your options open, your mind sharp, and your decisions fluid. Because the harsh truth is this: the world will not bend to your plans. You must be ready to bend to the world. Think about it. How many people have been ruined because they put all their faith into one strategy, one investment, one job, one dream? They locked themselves into a plan and refused to see the cracks forming until it was too late. They were so certain of their path, so blinded by their own overconfidence, that they ignored the inevitable truth. Life is chaos. Markets shift. Circumstances change. Plans fail. Rigid financial plans are a prison. They give you the illusion of control while silently stripping you of your ability to respond when the unexpected strikes. And believe me, the unexpected always strikes. A market crash, a job loss, a medical emergency. The chaos of life doesn't ask for permission. It comes for everyone. The question is, will you be ready, or will you crumble under the weight of your own inflexibility? Flexibility is freedom. It's the power to pivot, to adapt, to choose a different path when the one you're on becomes impassable. It's about maintaining options, diverse investments, liquid assets, multiple income streams, so you're never trapped, never cornered, never left without a way out. Flexibility is not weakness. It's strength. It's the armor that protects you from the unpredictable, and the weapon that allows you to seize opportunities others are too rigid to see. But here's the brutal truth. Flexibility requires discipline. It requires sacrifice. It means saying no to overcommitting, no to overleveraging, no to the temptation to chase every shiny opportunity that comes your way. It means thinking long-term, staying liquid, and always keeping a portion of your resources untethered, ready to deploy when the time is right. Most people can't do this. They want certainty. They crave stability. They want to believe that if they just follow the plan, everything will work out. But certainty is a lie. Stability is a trap. And plans are nothing more than guesses dressed up as guarantees. To achieve financial success, you must embrace the uncertainty. You must learn to thrive in the chaos. You must build a strategy that allows you to adapt, pivot, and evolve as the world around you changes. And when you do, you'll discover a power most people will never know. The power to control your life, no matter what life throws at you. So, ask yourself, are you flexible or are you rigid? Are you building a financial life that can weather the storm? Or are you clinging to a plan that will shatter at the first sign of trouble? Because in the end, success isn't about sticking to the plan. It's about surviving long enough to create a new one. Flexibility is not a luxury. It's a necessity. It's the difference between those who break and those who bend, those who lose everything and those who rise from the ashes. Choose flexibility. Choose freedom. Because in the game of money, the adaptable don't just survive, they dominate. And that can be you, if you're willing to let go of the plan and embrace the chaos. Lesson 14. The concept of enough. The poison of greed and the power of restraint. There's a hunger in this world, a gnawing, insatiable desire that consumes everything in its path. It whispers in your ear, urging you to chase more, to climb higher, to never stop reaching. This hunger is what drives people to build empires, to take risks, to push beyond their limits. But here's the dark truth. This same hunger is what destroys them. Greed, ambition, the endless pursuit of more. It's a seductive force, isn't it? Society celebrates it, glorifies it, even worships it. You're told that more is always better. More money, more power, more success. But at what cost? How many people have lost everything because they didn't know when to stop? How many lives have been ruined because they ignored the most important question? What is enough? Enough. It's a concept most people fear. To acknowledge enough feels like surrender, like settling, like giving up on greatness. But it's not. Knowing when you have enough isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's the strength to step back from the edge, to resist the siren call of greed, to avoid risks that could shatter everything you've built. Because here's the harsh reality. The pursuit of more is a double-edged sword. Yes, it can drive you to incredible heights, but it can also drive you off a cliff. Chasing more means taking bigger risks, making bolder bets, and gambling with the very foundation of your life. And for what? Another zero in your bank account, a bigger house, a fancier car. Do those things truly matter, or are they just illusions, distractions from the emptiness inside you? Let me tell you something most people will never admit. There is no finish line in the pursuit of more. No matter how much you have, it will never feel like enough if you don't define it. You'll keep chasing, keep risking, keep sacrificing, until one day you realize you've lost everything that truly mattered. Your time, your health, your relationships, your soul. But you can be different. You can escape the trap. You can define what enough looks like for you and build your life around it. And when you do, you'll discover a power most people never experience. The power of freedom. Freedom from the endless chase. Freedom from unnecessary risks. Freedom to live a life that's aligned with your values, not society's expectations. But let me warn you, choosing enough is not easy. It requires discipline. It requires clarity. It requires the courage to walk away from the game while others are still playing, to say no when the world screams yes. Most people won't do it. They'll keep chasing, keep risking, keep falling deeper into the trap of greed, until they lose everything. Don't be one of them. Define your enough. Protect it. Guard it with everything you have. Because knowing when to stop isn't just about avoiding disaster. It's about living a life of purpose, of meaning, of true wealth. Enough isn't settling. Enough is winning. So I ask you, what is your enough? When will you stop chasing shadows and start living for what truly matters? Because in the end, more isn't always better. Sometimes more is the poison that destroys everything. But enough is the antidote. Enough is freedom. Enough is power. Choose wisely. The chase for more is endless, but the peace of enough is eternal. Lesson 15. The emotional side of money. Mastering the chaos within. Money. It's not just numbers. It's not just a tool. It's power. It's control. It's survival. And because of that, it doesn't just touch your wallet. It grips your soul. Fear, greed, envy. They all dance in the shadows of your mind, feeding off your insecurities, your ambitions, your weaknesses. These emotions aren't just reactions. They're drivers, and if you don't control them, they will control you. Let's start with fear. Fear is the great paralyzer. It whispers, "What if you lose everything?" It keeps you hoarding instead of investing, retreating instead of advancing. Fear convinces you to stay small, to avoid risks, to settle for mediocrity. And here's the irony. The more you let fear dictate your financial life, the more likely you are to end up with the very thing you're afraid of. Nothing. Then there's greed, the eternal tempter. Greed is insidious. It tells you that what you have will never be enough. It pushes you to take bigger risks, to ignore the warning signs, to chase more. Greed blinds you to reality. It convinces you to play games you don't understand, to dive headfirst into investments you can't afford to lose, all for the promise of an illusion. Because greed never delivers satisfaction. It only feeds itself. And envy. Oh, how envy poisons the soul. Envy makes you compare, compete, and covet. It turns other people's success into your failure. It forces you to chase a life that isn't yours, to spend money you don't have, to buy things you don't need, all to keep up with people who don't care. Envy doesn't just destroy your finances, it destroys your peace. But here's the truth no one wants to admit. These emotions aren't the enemy. They're the test. Fear, greed, envy. They will always exist. You can't eliminate them, but you can master them. You can harness them. Because within every one of these emotions lies power, raw, untamed, and ready to be controlled. Fear can be a guide. It can show you where the risks are, what to prepare for, what to protect against. But you must never let it stop you. Face it, analyze it, and then act in spite of it. Greed can be a motivator. It can drive you to achieve, to push beyond your limits, to demand more from yourself. But you must never let it blind you. Balance ambition with caution. Pursue growth, but not at the cost of your principles or your sanity. And envy? Envy can be a teacher. It can reveal what you truly desire, what you lack, what you need to work on. But you must never let it consume you. Learn from others' success without letting it diminish your own. Focus on your path, not theirs. Managing these emotions isn't just about financial well-being. It's about power. It's about taking control of the chaos within you, taming the voices that want to tear you apart, and using them to your advantage. Most people let their emotions rule them. They act on impulse, driven by fear, greed, or envy, and then wonder why their financial lives are a mess. But not you. You're not here to be ruled. You're here to rule. You're here to master yourself, your emotions, your money. Because in the end, the battle isn't with the markets, or the economy, or even your bank account. The real battle is within. The question isn't whether you'll feel fear, greed, or envy. The question is whether you'll control them, or let them control you. So, who's in charge? The emotions that pull at your strings, or the part of you that knows better? The part of you that sees the bigger picture, that plays the long game, that understands money is a servant, not a master. Conquer your emotions, and you will conquer your financial life. Fear, greed, envy. They're not your enemies. They're your weapons. Learn to wield them, and there's nothing you can't achieve. Ignore them, and they'll destroy you. The choice is yours. Control or chaos. Power or surrender. Master yourself, and you master the game. Lesson 16. The long-term view. The ruthless power of patience. The world doesn't reward patience. It mocks it. It demands speed, urgency, instant results. It tempts you with promises of quick wins and overnight success, knowing full well it's all a lie. But here's the brutal truth. Wealth isn't built in a day or a year. or even a few years. It's built in decades. The impatient will never understand this. They're too busy chasing the next big thing, hopping from one opportunity to the next, looking for shortcuts that don't exist. They want results now. They crave validation now. And because of that, they fail. Every single time. You see, wealth isn't flashy. It's not loud or exciting. It doesn't announce itself with quick gains or meteoric rises. True wealth is quiet. It's the slow, deliberate process of planting seeds and letting them grow. It's the discipline to stay the course, to endure the grind, to resist the urge to tear up the roots just to see if they're growing. Patience is the most underrated financial tool because it's the hardest to master. It demands that you play the long game, that you think in decades instead of days. It demands that you sacrifice now for the promise of something greater later. And most people, they're not built for it. They're too weak, too distracted, too consumed by their need for instant gratification. But you can be different. You can master the art of patience, and in doing so, you can achieve what the impatient will never have: freedom. Let me tell you a secret. The long-term view isn't just about money. It's about power. Power over your impulses. Power over your emotions. Power over a world that wants to rush you, to break you, to keep you trapped in the endless cycle of short-term thinking. When you embrace the long-term view, you take control. You become the master of time, not its slave. But let me warn you, the long-term game is not for the faint of heart. It will test you. It will make you doubt yourself. The markets will rise and fall. Opportunities will come and go. The noise of the world will tempt you to abandon your plan, to give in, to chase the illusion of something faster, easier, better. Don't fall for it. Stay the course. Trust the process. Because the rewards of patience aren't just financial, they're transformational. They teach you discipline, resilience, and the power of delayed gratification. They separate you from the herd, from the masses who spend their lives chasing and failing, chasing and failing. Think in decades, not years. Build for the future, not for the now. Invest in assets that grow over time, that compound, that reward those who have the strength to wait. Because wealth isn't about quick wins. It's about enduring success. So ask yourself, can you endure the wait? Can you resist the urge to chase, to jump, to act on impulse? Can you stay disciplined when the world tempts you to abandon the long-term view for the illusion of something better? Because here's the truth. The impatient will always fall. The long-term thinker, they rise. Slowly, steadily, relentlessly. The choice is yours. You can chase the illusion of quick success and burn out like the rest. Or you can play the long game, endure the grind, and emerge victorious. The patient don't just survive, they dominate. Be one of them. Think in decades, and the world will be yours. Thank you for tuning in to GrimFace Motivation, the channel that fuels your discipline, sharpens your mindset, and reminds you of what it means to be relentless in everything you do. If this video resonated with you, if it lit that fire inside you to push harder, rise higher, and take control of your life, then know this: your journey doesn't stop here. Subscribe to GrimFace Financial through the link in the description of this video, and join us as we dive deep into the strategies and tools that will help you dominate your financial future. From mastering your money mindset to creating freedom through financial independence, GrimFace Financial is your next step in becoming unstoppable. Here at GrimFace, our mission is to arm you with the mindset, tools, and knowledge to not just survive, but to thrive, and to leave your mark on this world. So, subscribe to both channels, stay relentless, and let's continue to rise together.